Hey guys, it's James, the Rambling Dasher, and we are here just to do a weekly wrap-up. Something new that I'm going to try this week. I got my little speaker going on here, so just hanging that on my shirt. Just thought I would jump on, do a little quick wrap-up of the week. I feel like it's been one of the better weeks that I've ever had, and fingers crossed we can kind of keep it going. So this week I was in the midst of some panic associated with DoorDash, and like, I don't know that I can continue with it. And I haven't seen anything long term, but 1 week gives me hope, right? And what turned it around was this whole new rating system is kind of driving me bonkers in that, before I go any further, testing. Okay, our speaker and microphone and receiver works. So, sorry about that. So, a week ago, or no, back in earlier this month, and truthfully, it was back in August. DoorDash sent out an email to me, and I'm sure it was everyone in my area, I presume it is. I don't know. Maybe they do it differently for different people within the same area. But I got the email, and it said, "Hey, we're doing a change in ratings. So basically, a lot of things they're making changes to the way things work." So I'm like, okay, well, we'll read up on it and see what we got to do and figure it all out as we go, right? And I worked really hard this summer to get back to my platinum status that I had prior to a trip that I took. And when I came back, all my platinum status was gone because it had the qualification was 100 deliveries in 30 days. Well, I had 0. So yeah, I had to work through that and get that back. And I did, and I had it for 2 whole months. Well, right before I left, they came out with a new thing that said they introduced Platinum Pass, right? Platinum Pass was the ability to click a button and say, "Hey, I instantly have platinum status," and you get it for 1 week, and you earn it by being platinum for a whole month, maybe 30 days. Consecutively without dipping below, and then after that 30 days is up, you get a platinum pass, a 1 week pass, and that you can gain up to 3 of them. So I had gained 2 of them over the summer, because it took me a little while into June to get my platinum status back, and then I was platinum from June up until September, when I was not. And what happened was I was working on my 3rd month, and this new status came out, and it's supposed to come out in August, and then it came out in, so the day of, in August, they sent an email and said, "Hey, we've pushed it back," and didn't give a date. I was like, okay, we won't be on the new system. So, and then all of a sudden, somewhere around September, I'm going to say somewhere September 9th, September 8th, somewhere in that neighborhood, I would think anyway, right? They came out with the email and says, "Hey, guess what? We're live in the new system." And I was like, oh, okay. So I went door dashing, and the email also said, "You're going to have your platinum status through September 21st, which was a Friday." So that whole week and the next week, I had platinum status in the new system. And one thing I noticed real quick was that I was having issues with the on-time status. So that on-time status was driving me utterly bonkers, because there was no real way for me to be on time. Especially when they were taking into account the wait time for the restaurant. And the restaurant was always late, seemingly. So I complained to support, I complained, and then I started to see hundreds, maybe thousands of people complaining online about the same issue of not being able to. So, and then a week or so later, I am gone. I moved from Platinum, and when September 21st rolls around, and I lose my status, and I had a really good week that week because Platinum status in the new system got you decent orders and a lot of orders. Well, that Friday I dropped to silver, all because of my on-time delivery status was like 3 out of 30 points, right? So all that being said, I went a whole week and had I worked a full, and I'm just going to say my normal schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday for about 6 hours in the evening time. And I have a full-time job and all that stuff. If you follow my channel, I probably say this thing in every single video. So, but yeah, so that week was pretty tough being silver because it was very slow going, no orders, low orders. I declined a lot of orders, which also sent my AR reeling. I was possibly up in the upper 80s to low 90s on my acceptance rate, and it dropped below 70, which is always a no-no in the old system because you had that minimum to be what you could be at 70%, but if you drop below 70, then you're gonna fall out of gold, right, or fall out of platinum. So yeah, so I tried everything I could to make sure I was getting on-time orders, or that particular week I was just trying to take orders that would pay me money, and then my active time was severely diminished because either I was declining orders or I was not getting offers, right? So the 3 nights that I worked that week, I probably only got active time of like half the time that I worked. So I ended up with like $64, $65 on a Monday. I had 92 on Wednesday and 95, I think, on Friday. Which sometimes those could be, especially in the old system, those are probably normal for platinum, or the Monday was not. It was bad. 60-something dollars is horrible, right? And then, so I didn't work over the weekend and then come back on Monday. I started dashing at my normal time and I got 2 hours in and I had 2 offers. And at the end of 2 hours, I had a total of $9. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore because, I mean, if I continued that, and potentially I would have got more, but I don't know that. But after 2 hours, having only $9 and 2 offers, and I accepted them both, it was going to be slow to no go. I can't imagine what that week would have been like. But I chose at that point to say, okay, I'm going to hit this Platinum Pass, and I am going to use this Platinum Pass this week and to do everything I can to get back to platinum, knowing full well, and I can tell you that over the past 2 weeks, some of the issues with the on-time delivery are kind of easing the tensions a little bit because DoorDash is starting to give you a little bit of what I like to call grace period, extra time. It's one thing to say like, hey, I've accepted this order and you're supposed to pick it up by, let's say, like 9:30 or whatever. But then you hit the GPS and it says you'll be there at 9:28. So that gives you what I call a 2-minute grace period. Well, picking up an order is something different in that, yes, you're going to, according to the GPS, you're going to get to that place by 9:28. And you can mark it as arrived, but there's no guarantee that the restaurant has the order ready by the time that you get there, right? That's what I had time and time and time again is that the restaurant never has the food ready based upon the DoorDash algorithm as to when they think the food will be ready, and then you'll be able to click pick up the order. Other things that I've done is try to make sure that if they do have the food ready and I can pick it up within the time that DoorDash says to, that I get it packed away in the car, and I'm in the car and I take the picture of the stuff. If the restaurant doesn't require me to say, confirm order before I walk out the door. So a lot of times a lot of places around here, I'm a familiar face, so they know that I'm not going to abscond with their food and that. So anyway, but so that gives me a little bit of extra time, just because you can't just get out of the car, out of the restaurant into your car without taking a couple of minutes. If you're going to do it right and keep the food warm and zip it up in the bags and all that fun stuff, and make sure the drinks don't spill everywhere and all that, and then get in your car and click on the GPS and go. If you're doing it right, it's not always like, hey, a 3-second exercise, right? It's going to take you a minute or two. So that's time that's lost, right? Time that goes against you if you're trying to get your delivery on time. So I've started doing that even if my pickup is late. Why is that? Because sometimes they'll give me a little grace period on the lateness of the pickup, but not necessarily on the delivery of the food, because the delivery of the food, at least in this instance or in this circumstance, right, the vast majority of the time the GPS is going to be pretty spot on as to whether or not you can get it there or not on time, right? Now, if it's a monsoon outside, or if there's some accident that happens in front of you, then the GPS is gonna be wrong. But the vast majority of the time, it's gonna be right, and you can control that. If you're not making wrong turns like I do and things like that, then you kind of you may run into those kind of issues. But the vast majority of the time, the GPS is pretty spot on the delivery side. But it is vastly wrong on the algorithm is on the pickup side, and that the restaurant is continuously late with their food. So those are the things I've been dealing with. So this weekly recap, I guess, mainly of my ratings and my earnings. Just know that 2 hours of it was $9, right? The rest of it was with this Platinum Pass in the new rating system. So, and I can tell you that it's one of the best weeks I've had as a dasher. And now, because I was trying to move my ratings up from silver to platinum in a week, I worked a lot more time than I would normally. So like on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, well, I also threw in some hours on Tuesday, threw in some hours on Thursday, and I worked some hours on Sunday, or Saturday, not Sunday. Today's Sunday. So anyway, so just going through, I'll put this stuff on my screen. I haven't taken screenshots of it yet, but just to go over my ratings right now. And I know I've seen some people commenting on my channel or Facebook page. So it's the Rambling Dasher on Facebook, just like the Rambling Dasher on YouTube. So if you want to follow that, feel free. But I see people have different rating systems than I do. They look like they're on the newer system, but like somebody posted a screenshot of theirs and they did not have quality rate that was worth 15 out of 15 or 15 points, right? Their completion rate, where mine is 15 out of 15, theirs was their cap was 35 points for the completion rate. And I'm like, rarely do I ever unassign from an order once I've accepted it. Very rarely. It has to be abominable, and I can tell you exactly where I would do it is at Papa John's in Bryant. Sorry, Papa John's in Bryant. But on a Friday night, and you get there, and they're like, "Yeah, we're 30 minutes behind everything," and I'm like, "Okay, for $6, I'm gonna unassign, and so go get me another one, right?" So anyway, so I was like, man, I would do anything to have a completion rate with a cap of 35 points, because then I don't know that I couldn't be platinum, right? So it was interesting. They didn't even have a quality rate. Their acceptance rate was capped at 25 points. So I just think that DoorDash is playing with the numbers in different areas of either the country or different groups of users. I just don't know. I don't know all there is to know about it, but I'll read through mine and just kind of let you know. I haven't, so this week I went from maybe, I don't remember if I was 68 or 71 on my overall, but today, and I'm not going to go dash on Sunday, and I'll have maybe 1 or 2 hours left on my Platinum Pass on Monday afternoon, and I'm hoping to get this bumped up to 85 to be platinum on Monday. So fingers crossed, right? So right now I'm at 83 on my overall rating, which means I will be gold once my Platinum Pass runs out. My acceptance rate, I'm up to 83%, which gives me 28 out of 30. So most of this week, I've been diligent about accept. And I've come to the conclusion that if I'm platinum and they're really, this is what I would say the difference between this rating system and the old rating system is that being platinum didn't really give you that much of a benefit, okay? Whether I was platinum or gold or silver, I felt like I could still make, $100 on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? In this new system, I came up with like $250 on those 3 days last week, and it was very difficult with little to no orders, or half the time that I'm dashing, only half of it is deemed active. So very hard. The acceptance rate, like I said, 83, which is 28 out of 30. The completion rate, I have 100%, and it's 15 out of 15 points. My on time is up to 85%, which is deemed 15 out of 30. And the reason I hope that I can get this up there pretty quick is because if I go back and look at my on time, and I can, with on time, you have the ability to look at your last 100. The next 3 orders that I have were all late that I have that will fall off. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then I've got 2 on times, and then I got 3 more that are late. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 out of 8, and then another one, and then 7 out of 10. 8 out of 12. So 8 out of the next 12 are late. So fingers crossed I can get a couple of these lates knocked off in that first 2 hours with having the Platinum Pass. At least 2, maybe 3. If I can get 5 deliveries in the first 2 hours on Monday, I will automatically be platinum. And I'll already be gold, but I'll be platinum via the Platinum Pass up until the first 2 hours, I think. But anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. So fingers crossed that will continue to hold true. My quality rate is at 100%, so that's 15 out of 15. And my customer rating, which is 4.99, and I have 10 out of 10 points there. So the other thing is lifetime deliveries. I'm at 3,173. So yeah, I hit the 3,000 this summer, and they gave me a 10% coupon off of ordering food or something. I can't remember. So I didn't use it because I've never ordered food off of DoorDash. So there's that. And I personally, the shopping is down there, but I turned shopping off 6 months or more ago. I just came to the realization that shopping is not for me, especially in my area. The vast majority of the shopping is at Dollar General, and Dollar General never has their shelves stocked. So the frustration is just too much for the little pay and long shopping time, and usually long driving distances for what you get out of the shopping. So yeah, that's kind of hard. So I just came to that conclusion. I'm not doing shopping. Something else that I recently turned off is I cannot take the chance to do cash deliveries, because 5 of my last 5, they were all 0 tip. And I would deem them 0. So if you get an order for $24.16 and they give you $25, I still call it a 0 tip. It's not even $1, so I don't count those as being part of your tip. You can't. I'm just not doing that anymore. So used to, when I did cash orders, you would get lucky on some and get $5, $10, $20, on cash tips. But nowadays people use cash tips, and I don't know what the deal is. So this is what I kind of believe, and I don't know if it's true. I just don't know. But if you're having credit problems, you can't get a credit card, you can't even get a debit card, you maybe don't have maybe you don't have a bank account, I don't know. But typically, if you are having money issues like that, then you can't afford to leave a tip, right? You might, and truthfully, I can say this honestly, you probably shouldn't be door dashing, because you shouldn't be paying DoorDash fees. You should get up off your rear end and go get your own food. Now, I understand some people, they may be so poor they don't even have a car. But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of, so yeah, I quit doing cash orders. I would get them all the time, and they just became more frustrating with the tip value. So I quit doing that. So moving on to earnings. So my earnings, so I'll just go day by day and then give you the update for the end of the week. So Saturday, let's start with Monday. So Monday is where I started with that $2. Or not $2, the first 2 hours, and I had $9, and I ended up Saturday with $98. So in about a total time of 6 hours and 18 minutes, I had an active time of 3 hours and 55 minutes. So about 2.5 hours of inactive time during that 6 hours and 18 minutes, which is ridiculous. Most of it was the first 2 hours, because I only had 2 offers. But yeah, I had $9 after 2 hours, and 4 hours and 18 minutes after I turned that thing on, I ended up with $89. So that's a huge amount of money for in comparison, right? So I had 14 deliveries, 6 hours and 18 minutes, DoorDash pay of $43, customer tips $54 for $98. So very happy with that Monday compared to what went on for that first 2 hours. Tuesday, I only went out for 3 hours and 28 minutes. I had 7 offers with 8 deliveries. The base to tip was pretty good, $17.50 to $42, and I had a total of $60.36. So in 3 hours and 28 minutes, it was a little bit below $20 an hour, but still respectable in the 3 hours and 28 minutes that I went out there. Wednesday, probably one of the best days I've had all year long. Definitely the best I've had all summer. I had 15 offers with 16 deliveries. That just means they doubled up one of them in 6 hours even, right? So 6 hours even with only, with 4 hours and 50 minutes of active time. So that means only 1 hour and 10 minutes out of 6 hours that I was inactive. And usually that's when you got a longer order and you got to drive back, then it'll be that inactive time. But I had a total of $162 in 6 hours and 10 minutes. So that's somewhere, I don't have my calculator, but somewhere in the neighborhood of about $26, $28. I don't know. I can't do the math. But anyway, so it's considerable considering what, even the day before, right? Or the Monday before. No, the day before when I only got $60 in 3.5 hours. But 6 hours get $162. The base pay was $59. The customer tips was $103. Not quite a 2-to-1, but that is just a good day, right? And the dash time, I had 16 deliveries for $162. So 16 deliveries with $162, that is $10 per delivery, which is, to me, unheard of, right? I don't get that. Not in the old world of Platinum before this rating change. Never achieved $10 average for the whole day. So, moving on to Thursday. So Thursday, I did 3 hours and 9 minutes with an active time of 2 hours and 32 minutes. So about 37 minutes of inactive time. So still well up in there for 3 hours. I had 7 offers with 9 deliveries. So 2 stacked orders, right? But made $83. My kid just texted me, and I forgot to do something. So, DoorDash Pay. Okay, this is, very, hold on one second. This is what happens when I'm door dashing, right? Real life we have a chance to go grab it now. Sorry. So yeah, back to, this is Thursday, the September 25th. We made $83 total, and it was $26 in base pay, $57 in DoorDash pay. And this day might have been a day I got, I can't remember. One day I got a $5 cash tip somewhere thrown in there. I can't remember when. This might have been it. But the start, or the active time again was only, okay. So the active time, 3 hours and 9 minutes, 7 offers and 9 deliveries for $83. So not quite $10 an order on the Thursday, but pretty close. So $83 on Thursday. Then on Friday, we had 14 offers and 17 deliveries. I don't know how that happens, but I know how, because I had some double ups, but I also had 2 pickups for 1 delivery. So, yeah. So it says 14 offers, 17 deliveries, 6 hours and 21 minutes with 5 hours and 21 minutes of active. So less than an hour, like 53 minutes of inactive time. for over 6 hours. So I think it's freaking awesome. So I was just busy the whole time. 17 deliveries in 6 hours to me is a lot. And we made $157.34. So I had $63 in base pay, $94 in tips. So I was hoping to get 2 for 1 on tips, but 2 for 1 would have had me at like 126 on the tips instead of 94. But still had a good base pay and a decent tips on that day for $157 on Friday. So, you know, rolling right along. And then on Saturday, I worked for 3 hours and 12 minutes and had 2 hours and 30 minutes of active. So 42 minutes of inactive time. I had 6 offers with 7 deliveries for $59.50. So again, not $10 per order, but right at $20 per hour. And the tips on that day were $25.50 for base pay and $34 in tips. So a little bit over 1 to 1. Obviously, you like it for it to be more along the lines of $1 for base pay, $2 for a tip. So yeah, people seem to be tipping a little bit less as of late. So in that regard, it's kind of hard, but it is what it is. I will say, and I can't tell you how many of these were no tippers, but I did get some no tippers. I'm looking at, there's a Logan's for $5.50 with no tip, right? So that means DoorDash stepped up and paid with a no tipper. I don't know if I had any more on that day, but yeah. I did have one person that was a $5 base pay with a $15 tip, so that was nice. The $14 at a 6 and an 8 as well. So the rest of them were pretty, less than $5 tips. But so it is what it is. We'll take what we can get, But yeah, let's see. So for the week, I had 28 hours, 31 minutes. And 21:30 were active. So about right at 7 hours of inactive time out of 28 hours. So I think some of that obviously is, for every 6 hours I work, I have about an hour of downtime. So if I work 5 days, I had a little bit and plus that Monday I had over 2 hours of downtime, so that turns out to be 1 hour per day plus an extra hour on Monday, and I worked 6 days, so therefore I got 7 hours in downtime. I completed 71 deliveries on this week, and the total was $621.01 with a DoorDash pay of $234.50 and a tips of $386.51. So I feel pretty good about that. Like I said when I first started, this is probably at least the best week that I can remember DoorDashing. So I will take it, right? I would have took it. My goal every week is $300. But I knew that with this Platinum Pass, I wanted to try to go do everything I could to convert acceptances, because that's the only thing I have negatives on, right? My other metrics are all at 100%. So the only thing I can make up ground on, and I only have a small amount I can make up on acceptance rate, but I have a large amount to make up on on-time delivery. So I went ahead and did anything and everything I could to get on-time deliveries. And I will say that over the past week, I've seen DoorDash do some things like, hey, they pop up the thing on their screen saying, I got your back, right? When they know that the pickup time at the restaurant is well past the time. Now, I don't know why they don't do it on some, because I spent 30 minutes on the phone with them yesterday trying to get them to take off one that was 16 minutes late for the restaurant to get the food out there. And I'm like, what can I do? And they're like, you just got to work it off. And I'm like, that's just not acceptable. Can you send this up to your development support team and see if they can fix the algorithm or something? And this is what I did find out on that call, is that you get 2 chances to exclude on-time deliveries per week. So I had already used one of them, and after I got off that call, I went in there to see if they fixed it, and they did not. So I just clicked the dispute button, and and because it was my second one, so I would be a fool not to exclude 2 a week. And just so you guys know, that starts on Mondays, just like your payday does, right? Monday through Sunday is the week long that you get 2 disputes. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You got a little, you got a little magic trick in your pocket there to be able to exclude that. So I'm going to put these overlays on the screen. I don't know if I'll get them up in the corner up here, or it's just going to cover my whole face. It's probably going to cover my whole face and be a little opaque, so you'll be able to read it but see me through it in the background. That's how I normally do it anyway, because I'm not the technical genius on how to get stuff in places on the screen when I'm editing. So if you like this content, please be sure to hit the like button. If you have any questions, put those comments down there, and by all means hit that subscribe button. One other thing is we do have an Amazon Dasher store. Check it out. If you need to buy anything on Amazon, you don't have to use our links to purchase what I offer. You can purchase anything on there, and we get a commission, which is people have been using it, so thank you to those people. I don't know who you are. I know what you're buying. And we won't share that on the air. So, but thank you for using my links. I greatly appreciate you. And the more people doing that, maybe the less I'll complain about how bad the tips are. So anyway, so as always, tell your kids you love them, and have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. See you later. Bye.